Welcome back to the In the Lead show. My name is Jennifer Sang, and you're listening to episode number 25. In today's episode, I get to have a conversation with a gentleman by the name of Moe Riyami. And Moe and I met in my corporate role. We were working in the same organization, and Moe became a new manager in the last few years. And I loved watching Moe's growth and Moe's natural ability to be a really great manager and a really great leader. And throughout this conversation, you'll hear different ways that Moe has always approached people in general, whether it's people, that you're meeting for the first time, people that you work with, relationships, or people that you're managing or leading, finding ways to be the most authentic leader that you can be. One of the other things that Moe highlighted in our conversation that I've long believed, and I firmly believe, that leadership is not a one-size-fits-all approach. And I know that I have personally seen in my career leaders wanting you to fit into their way of leading or managing or being, and not expecting to have to maybe adjust yourself a little bit to give the person that you're managing on your team maybe what they need. And it's less about you as a person and more about how can I help this person be successful. And I know Moe embodies that, and he's had a couple of different roles and managed a couple of different teams now. So I wanted to get his fresh perspectives on some of the things that he has done to be really successful in his role as a new manager, and can maybe pick up a few tips and insights into things Moe has done and what's made him successful in ways to help you be successful. If you're managing a team, you're a leader of an organization, you're a leader of your family, you're a leader of your community, whatever it is, we are all leaders, and finding different tools and insights has always helped me to continue to define what my leadership presence looks like and how I want to show up in the world. So I had a really great conversation with Moe, and I hope you all enjoy. So welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the In the Lead show. My name is Jennifer Sang, and I am here today with Moe Riyami to talk about what it means to be a good manager. So welcome to the show, Moe.
Thank you. Thank you. Honored to be here. And yeah, can't wait to do this. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait either. I've known you now for a number of years, and we've worked in the same organization, and I've watched you evolve in your career and become a people manager and just have this way with people. And you just always bring a smile to people's faces and brighten up the room. So I'm really looking forward to you sharing some insights into what it takes to be a good manager, from somebody who just recently kind of shifted into that role. So I'm really excited for that. And, but before we get started, I would love to hear and for you to share with the listeners a little bit about yourself. So who is Moe?
Thank you. Thank you. So, who is Moe? Moe is a father first. I have a 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old son, he has just been my life since he was born. Great experience. I never knew being a dad was going to be so much fun or this much fun. But I love every moment of it. And he's my why and my reason. I am also a husband to a beautiful wife that has helped me in many ways than one to get to where I'm at today. She is a big supporter of mine and backbone to this journey of, as you mentioned, we work in the same organization, and she was a huge factor in my my success. So lots of credit to my wife. And I'm a manager. I'm a people manager at Cisco, and I love what I do. Obviously, just like any job, there's pros and cons and ups and downs, but overall, it's probably the most rewarding thing I've done ever in my life.
Yeah.
So there's that part. And then um, soccer. I'm a soccer fanatic. So that is
Just a
my
wee little
first.
bit. Didn't you play in college too? Didn't you play
Yes,
soccer in
yes,
college?
yes. Yep. I've done the whole college thing. I watch a lot of soccer. My team is actually playing right now.
Oh,
Um,
well, thank you for
yeah.
doing this podcast instead of watching the game. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes. I support Manchester City. It's a
Mhm.
team in the English Premier League. And yeah, and they are currently number one in the league. Really good team. If no one has ever watched them play, go watch Manchester City. If you're not a soccer fan, Manchester City should be the team you should all support.
Should be. It needs to be.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
then and then CrossFit. CrossFit is my new thing now. I started
Oh.
doing this a couple months ago. Yes, and very challenging. I'm a person that loves a challenge, something different, something I'm not used to doing. Just dive in and go at it. But I think today is my 2 month mark, and
Wow.
yeah, I go consistently, I do 4 days a week, and I absolutely love it. It's very different. Not what I'm used to, not what I like doing.
Mhm.
Very uncomfortable in the beginning, you
Yeah.
know, with the just being nervous and, you know, worrying about all the, you see all these CrossFit fails.
Mhm.
So yeah, with all that, I was like, you know what, let me give this a shot. And so far, I'm loving every moment of it. So it's
It's
pretty.
interesting. I'm noticing correlation there between maybe the CrossFit journey and maybe becoming a new manager. Because I would imagine as a new manager, there's probably some nervousness, some unknowns, maybe having bad managers in the past, maybe some fear. But it sounds like you've really grown into that role and really enjoy it.
Yes, yes. So there's, I guess there's different levels to this this new manager thing, right? So
Mm.
um a couple of years ago, I got the opportunity to manage a team, smaller team that I used to work in. So I was
Mm.
familiar with everyone. I knew everyone. I've been working with them for years. So there was some kind of familiarity. So it was a little bit um, it was easier, I feel like, to transition into because I
Mm.
kind of knew everyone.
Yeah.
And it was a very small team. I think it was maybe 7, 8 people. So um, there was that, and then uh, it was a little bit weird in the beginning because you know how when you're all on, I guess, on the same, I don't want to call it same level, but the same,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you're all on the same team, and then now
Mm-hmm.
you start to manage that team. And I
Yeah.
was worried about how people will receive that.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask someone to do something, are they going to take it like, oh, he's being too bossy, or stuff.
Yeah.
I was always self-conscious of how someone is going to view how I speak to them or how
Yeah.
I treat them. And so yeah, so that part was a little bit uncomfortable for me. And of course, just this role of, you get this title manager, and it's like, oh man, this comes with a lot of pressure. And now I'm like, now all eyes on me, and I have to be a leader, and I have to do this, and I have to be this way and that way. And
Mm-hmm.
um it was, I'll say, the first few months was a little rough, but I think in the end, you kind of, for me at least, in my view, I think you kind of look back at yourself and look back at like your true self, and look within and trust your gut, and then things just kind of start falling in place. Because I remember at first I was trying to mimic what I thought would be a good manager or a successful manager.
Mm-hmm.
And some examples that I've had, not just within this company, prior, and just knowing managers outside, haven't always been, or is not what my idea of what a manager is, right? So I think I was trying very hard to be someone that I'm not. And I think that's where I was struggling when I first started off. Yeah, I was definitely trying my hardest to fit this profile of what I thought a manager should be.
Yeah.
When in the end of the day, honestly, just be yourself, be who you are, be true to yourself, and then everyone, because I was like, I've been on this team. Everyone likes me. I like everyone. We all get along. So why would I be any different? Like why should I change any of that to try and be someone else?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of those lessons that I learned was just be yourself. Be yourself. And then within the team, there is, because you're dealing with different people. When I say different people, it's race, demographics, gender, age group, just everybody's different. We're not the same, right? So you have to be a manager for everyone, not a manager for people that are like you or people that are like-minded, right? You have to be a manager for everyone. So there's a lot of bias, a lot of things that I feel is the right way of doing things, or the right things, is not necessarily how the next person sees it. So, but I can't judge them on how they view this, because I feel like at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. It's just, how do we get there? We all look at it different. Like, we all take different paths to get to the same place. Obviously, we're all one team. We all want to be successful. We all work for the same company. And sometimes, my ideas might not align with someone else on the team. And that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a different view, because you know what? You probably grew up in a different culture, in a different country. So you're going to see things different. I hope you see things differently than I do. And that's where we learn, right? I might learn something from you. You might learn something from me. And then we meet somewhere in the middle. And the end goal is always the same. So there's so much to learn. And that's why I think it's so important to communicate, to speak to people, to understand people, listen. Listening is very, 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 very crucial. Listening and hearing people, and understand, and try and really put yourself in someone else's shoes. Even, it's one of those sayings that's like, well, that's impossible. Yes and no, because you really can do. We can always do more.
Yeah. I love a few of the things that you're saying. I love that what I'm hearing you say is be open. So even when you were talking about the journey itself, just staying really open and things fall into place. I feel like sometimes we get caught in this almost resistance, and we put these things in front of we put these roadblocks up, or we put these mental maybe roadblocks up that keep us stuck from being able to see kind of these other possibilities. So what I hear is staying very open and working on your listening and connecting. And most of all, I was hearing it's not a one size fits all approach. So what works for you may not work for me, and may not work for someone else, but being able to be flexible too is what I'm hearing, is knowing that you have to almost take an individualized approach with each person, and really take the time to get to know them, to understand them, and build that empathy and that ability to understand what's usually what I say, the thing behind the thing. It's in coaching, we talk a lot about people come to you with almost symptomatic issues. And I see that a lot in the workplace, where they'll come with the same issues over and over again, but there's probably something else underlying that. And are we taking the time to really uncover that? So it sounds like using some of those skills helps you build that trust, build that space where people feel safe enough to bring their whole selves.
It does. And I think building teams requires building trust. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but in order to build like the foundation of trust, you have to practice congruent and speaking your truth, right? And that's the type of team that I've always wanted to be a part of. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, it's everybody's welcome, and I don't care how you are, how you think, whatever it is, you matter. Like, you as a person matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, like, there was a there was a time where, and you said something about um people's personal life, and
Mm-hmm.
that for me is huge. Like, one of the things that I do until now, with, I have a new bigger team now, and I still practice this. When we're 5 o'clock, when we're off work, we're off work. Weekends, and I tell them, guys, do not, if I call you 3 times, it's an emergency, I really need you. But otherwise, do not respond to my text messages. And I there's one habit that I do that I hate doing it, and I always do it because I always tell myself, I'm not one to write like a note on like a sticky pad or something, and then remember on Monday and then send a message. I'll think of something on Saturday morning. I'm like, oh, let me just message him real quick, and then I'll send that message, which I don't think about it, but on their end, sometimes they're like, when they see that message, because you know how, when the phone gives you that cling,
Yeah.
and then you feel like you have to look at it, and then it tells you, this person viewed your message, and now they feel like they have to respond, because they're like, oh, he probably saw that I viewed the message, and if I don't respond, then what is it going to make me look like, and all that. And I still do that, and that's one habit I'm trying to break. But people's personal time, that's your personal time.
Yeah.
Like, whether you have family, your dogs, if you're just staring at the walls at home, it's your personal time. Do that. You need it, especially right now. And I've noticed, since this environment we're in, the whole pandemic, people's mental health. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of us take for granted, or we don't really think about it. But like therapy, like seeing a therapist or speaking to a therapist, and it has this negative view, or like, oh, you're crazy, you're gonna go, if you're speaking to a therapist, something's wrong with you. And I'm just like, it's like an oil change, or changing your batteries, changing your tires, a brake job, whatever it is, just maintenance, right? It's maintenance for your mentals. You have to take care of your mentals, especially in this environment that we live in, because we don't know what people are dealing with at home. Being stuck inside for weeks, months, and if you get sick, and then you're forced to isolate and just be by yourself, and all those things, all that affects your Monday through Friday at work. It does. So as a manager, you have to think about that. So sometimes, I'll have someone that may have an off week, and I do this. So weekly, I try my best to connect. And I'll say I'm probably at 95% or higher to connect with everyone on my team. And not just on a work level, also on a personal level. Because sometimes you'll notice, when someone's a little bit off, and no one is expecting everyone to be 100% every week.
Right.
But those weeks that you're at like 40-50%, I wonder what's going on at home. Is there something happening? Are you sick? Is your child sick, or your dog, or something? Like, is there something else going on that is just bringing your whole energy down, outside of your personal life? So I think that is one thing that sometimes we don't look at, or we look at it as more of a negative. Where it's like, your mental health is not really that. I mean, you're at work now, so save that for after you get off work.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is this is
Well,
like every day. This is it. This is a part of
yeah.
me.
And if we want people to bring their whole selves to work, that includes all of it, right? It's not just the really productive, really fun, funny, happy go lucky version of yourself. It's the whole thing. And just an FYI, I am here to like abolish that stigma once and for all. I mean, I've had a therapist. I think I've been in therapy for many, many years, and I think you're absolutely right. It's like maintenance for me. It's like even after so many years, it's like you can still uncover new things, new learnings about yourself, new understandings, new feelings that maybe you hadn't felt in a really long. I mean, there's so much. So I think it's so important that it is. I always tell people not to wait till the cars broke down. You have to do
Yeah.
the regular maintenance, and that's part of it. And also, I love that you said that you check in. I know I've worked with managers in the past where it felt like it was just work. Like what are you working on? How are things going? And maybe the occasional like, and how are you doing? But not really making a sincere effort to really get to know the person on a human level. And that means everything, personal, their mental health, everything. So I think that's awesome that you take the time, and with such a big team, I give you kudos for that, for making that effort, because it's got to take a lot of time
Yeah.
to.
It it does. And you know what? When I first so in this I guess with this team, it's been a little bit over a year now. I've been with this team, and
Mhm.
when I first joined, that was the first thing I said to myself. I was like, well, I come from a very small, tight knit team. Like my old team, we were like a family, right? Because
Mhm.
it was a very small team, and we were all local. I think we only had one person that was West Coast.
Mhm.
So we were so close, and it just felt like we had this bond that was just like unbreakable. So I was like, oh, this is the perfect team. And then I inherit this new team, or I guess I moved to this new team,
Mhm.
and now I'm the new guy in this team, right? This team has been together for however many years, and then I joined them, so now I am joining their herd or their circle, and then I felt like I'm the outsider now.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this is a way, the team is almost triple the size of my whole team. So I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way I can ever have a deep connection
Yeah.
with this team as I did with my old team. I was like, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
And then, you tell yourself something enough times, you start believing it. And I was like, I just have to change my management style. I have to be a different manager now.
Mhm.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
and I also did notice that my team was not they were not where they are today, I feel like.
Mm.
It was a little bit more kind of like every man for himself, you
Mm.
know. It was like we're one country, but we're different states. you know?
Oh, yes, I'm
Yeah.
familiar.
so um so that was another, because now I was a new manager again, because I'm like, this is a completely new experience for me. It's a bigger team, different part of the organization, and different kind of team too, do completely different things.
Yeah.
So demographics again, completely different. And it's like, I don't know how I can connect to these people on that level. And now this team is also global. So I'm like, now I have people from all over the place,
Mm.
versus before everyone was just local.
Right.
So, but you learn, that's
Yeah.
the thing. That's where you have to pay attention. Um,
Yeah.
you want to create healthy relationships, a healthy, great, productive team. You have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to yourself, and you have to pay attention to everyone else around you. And I think that really helped me, because I think my first month I was just like, this is just going to be draining.
Mm.
I was like, I think I'm going to get burned out. and I don't think I'll be able to do this. And part of the feedback that I did get from my team was, when's the next person coming around? Because it seems like it's just like a Rolodex. People just keep getting burned out and then they out, burned out and then they leave, burned out and they leave. And then I was like, okay, well this might be a challenge now. And I'm like, okay, that kind of excites me. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm gonna force the love now, right?
I'm going to force the love. Love it. Yeah.
But yeah, and then fast forward a few months, and I said, but what, why is it that, like, why did I say to myself in the beginning, I can't have that same connection because this team is a lot bigger and this team is spread, all over the world, versus that team was local. So we can meet for lunches and dinners and all that kind of stuff. And, we used to play basketball together and do all these team outings. And I was like, I don't have that anymore. So there's no way I can ever connect with someone in that way. And this is really funny. But, I watched the show 90 Day Fiance, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, if they can have a connection and they're living 5,000 miles away from each other, then I have zero excuse, right?
Management tips from 90 Day Fiance. I love that. I got to tweet that one out. That is awesome. No, but it's true though, right? I mean, I think that's one of the things we've learned throughout COVID, and a lot of us have been forced to be distant in a lot of situations, is that it is possible to have really meaningful connections with people. Like I've made friends in India, Europe, that I've never even met in person ever. I've only ever interacted either on the phone or on video, and it is possible to make really meaningful connections. I think it's about intention, what I hear you saying, and taking the time. But also what I heard you saying is that your stories sometimes can get in the way. So if you tell yourself, oh man, there's no way I'm going to do this. Oh, it's so different than it was before. Oh, look, it's just a Rolodex of people coming in and out. I'm not going to last. I'm going to get burned out. Like if we have that mindset, it can really drive how we act with our teams and how we connect with people. And I think people can sense that and pick up on it.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things that can hold you back. You know how sometimes you really want something so bad, but then you're like, I don't know if I can really afford it. Like, I don't know. When I was younger, I don't know, maybe one of the cars that I purchased, and I was like, I really want this so bad, but then you kind of talk yourself out of it because it's like, I don't know if I'm going to make the payments. I don't know if it's worth it because the insurance is going to be high and all that. And then at the end of the day, you're just like, you know what?
Just
do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Just make you happy.
I know.
Just do it.
Yeah. I feel like we spend a lot of times kind of talking ourselves out of things or convincing ourselves, letting those stories again kind of fuel us, and just really all it is delaying for what I say is always the inevitable. Like these things are going to happen. You're going to do it. But how much time do you want to spend just kind of circling and cycling through all these, should I, shouldn't I? Oh, is that the right thing? Oh, this person doesn't like me. Oh, I don't know. When, if you can just kind of be in that kind of self mode where you can make those decisions more easily, more quickly, you're able to connect with people a lot more easily. There's not as much like stuff getting in the way, is what I've noticed. And I think that's one of the things you're really good at, is being able to be very present with people and be able to connect with, like you said, you ask about their personal life, you connect with them on things outside of work, you sense like, hey, they don't seem like they're 100%, I'm going to check in on them. I think all those little things add up to, until people are like signals that say, oh, Mo cares about me, and I actually matter. I'm more than just an instructor or whatever my role is. Like I actually do matter. So I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's also, there's one thing that I've also learned in this process is, obviously I have my goals as a leader, as a manager, of where I want to go. Like I have my path,
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is, and I feel like a lot of people a lot of managers will focus on their path and then forget that you're still leading a team,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you have to remind yourself that your success is going to come when they win. If the team wins, then I know I'm doing my job and I'm winning. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good, right? So, but if I'm the only one winning and everyone else around me is doing the same thing or there's no progress, then I'm really not doing my job.
Yeah.
I'm not a good manager.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that so many times where someone, yeah, he's moving up and he's doing his thing. And I'm like, but his team is still the same thing they were 5, 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
I always try and push my team towards their goals. And sometimes people don't know, it's like I don't know, freshmen in college. Like sometimes you just don't know what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
You go to college and then you waste your first 2 or 3 years thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then after 2 years, you're like, you know what? Actually, now I really know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just kind of encourage them to go any kind of direction. And sometimes it's worked out to where they're like, oh, I actually really enjoy this stuff. So I think I'm going to go down that path. Or actually, I really don't like it, but I'm glad I tried it. But through that, I learned that this is actually where I want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm open to all of it, right? Like I tell my guys, whatever you guys want to do, let me know. Like for me, this is like my job is to make sure you guys are happy, you guys are successful. So whatever success looks like in your eyes,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that's what I need to know, because that's
Yeah.
where I need to make sure you're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I feel like sometimes as managers we forget that, you know, we have a whole team that we have to serve.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to protect them, we have to, help them grow, we have to push them, because their success determines our success.
Yeah. That's such an important lesson. And I know I've seen that a lot working a corporate setting for 20 years. And we were just talking about that. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been 20 years. But yeah, I mean, I've seen it a lot where it's, yeah, you're focused on you. You're doing you as a manager. Could not care less about your team. Doesn't matter. But as long as you keep like moving up the ranks, it doesn't really matter. And then the team is left with all that damage because people just keep coming in to move up the chain and no one cares. And then people wonder, why is nobody happy? Why are our engagement scores so low? Why are people so like jaded and retention is high? Like, I mean, come on. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, right? Like, I mean, that's because they feel like nobody cares about them. And
Yeah.
when a good manager comes along, it's a breath of fresh air because people feel like, okay, finally somebody sees my value as a whole human being, not just my role on this team and what results I can drive. I think we get caught up a lot in that. A lot of the
Yeah.
business results, we spend like 5 minutes on, hey, how's everybody doing? And the rest of the time it's about how are the revenue numbers looking? What are the issues? All work. And people are just, I think, burned out and just tired.
Yeah.
And they're realizing that they deserve better. So I'm happy to see that you're fostering a really great culture within your team. It sounds like.
Yes. I am a and this actually comes from my wife. Lots of training over the years.
She's a good woman.
Listening, 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 listening. It's not
Yeah.
about me. You
Mm-hmm.
just listen. And I'll tell you, I have plenty of stories, but this is one of, and it's sometimes it's the tiniest thing, the smallest the smallest gratitude to
Mm-hmm.
someone else. It's like finally someone's listening to me,
Yeah.
finally I see something happen. And I had a situation at work where um, one of the guys was just not, he was trying to work with a different team and nothing was moving. And
Mm.
things would, or if things would move, they're moving really, really slow. And, after a couple months, it's just like, you know what? There's no need to complain. There's no need to ask for help because no one's going to do anything about it. So,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just accepting the fact that this is just how it is because no one does anything. And I said, no, but we can't, we're not just going to be mediocre. So I was like, please let me know how can I help? What do I need to do? And he's like, well, if you can get it done, XYZ, this is what I need. So I said, okay, cool, no problem.
Mm.
And I went, and this was, early on in the in this role. But in my head, I was like, if I get this one little win, and maybe I'll have that domino effect. If I affect him and he's happy, and then he tells the next person, and then I was like, then I could probably win everyone else's heart too. So I was like,
Yeah.
let me start with this small little win over here, and then for me, I'm like, and it's a small win, but it's still a win,
Yeah.
right? So I was like,
Yeah.
let's go, and it was nothing major, right, in
Yeah.
the grand picture,
Yeah.
but to that person,
Mm-hmm.
this meant a lot because
Yeah.
this was his day to day, and we got it done. Everything worked perfectly, and after that, he was just like, man, it took like 5 years for someone to just listen to me. And in the end of the day, I was like, that's all he wanted. He just wanted
Yeah.
someone to just listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you guys keep telling me, give me feedback, give me feedback. What are you doing with the feedback?
Yeah.
There's nothing. I give you all this feedback. I answer all the questions. It goes into this black hole. Nothing comes from it. I'm tired of giving feedback because it's quarter after quarter, year after year, same thing, new leader, same questions, and then out the window.
Yeah.
And I said, nope, for me, it's different. If I'm asking you for feedback, we are going to do this. We will hold each other's hand. We will hold each other accountable, beginning to the end. If we get somewhere, great. If we don't, we tried.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And I've been doing that ever since. And I think that is one of the reasons why the team really enjoys me. And I think they've embraced me because of I'm like, guys, listen, just tell me, how can I help?
Yeah.
That's it. If I don't know if you've seen the show, New Amsterdam.
No.
It's this show about, it's kind of like a modern Grey's Anatomy, one of those hospital shows, but New Amsterdam, the main doctor, the head doctor of the hospital, Mike Kemp, was like, all right, what can I do? How can I help? And that's it.
Yeah.
That's how I try and show up every day. Just
how can I help?
How can I help? And slowly, it takes some time. I wasn't getting the greatest feedback at first because it's different, right? It's something different. It's a new message. It's a new but a different kind of message that people are used to. I bring in a lot of emotion, a lot of energy into my man. I'm very hands-on. I'm not like hands-off and very like, do your job and boom, 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 we're good. I'm more of I don't know, maybe I force conversations and
force conversations. I'm forcing the love and conversations on you, and you will like it.
I smother them with love.
Well, obviously something works because I know that,
it does.
Really
it's
well
gotten a lot
liked.
better.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better. The feedback now, I mean, as of recent, it's getting so much better. And for me, I just love that the team is interacting with each other. Like nowadays, when someone needs something, someone needs help, everyone's like, here, I'll do it here. I can help out here. Let's do this. Let's do that. And for me, that's what I'm like, oh, this is I just feel like the boundaries are so healthy. And I'm like, it's like a brand new liver or something, or kidney. And I'm like, everything is moving perfectly.
I got a new kidney. No, but I love what you hear you saying though, is that, well, first of all, I heard you saying that you have to put feedback. You have to take feedback and put it into action, because I've felt that way a lot actually in my career as well, where it's like I feel like we give all this feedback and nothing's ever done. So when you actually take action, that reinforces that feeling of being heard and being seen, because it's taking it and actually doing something with it, whether it's you can actually successfully, maybe there's an ask and maybe you can't get everything, but maybe you help with a couple of things, but it's at least doing something with what you're getting. Because I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, we need to get feedback. We need feedback from the leadership team. We need feedback from the employees. But then I feel like, well, what are we doing with all this feedback? It's just noise. We're just kind of talking at each other and we're not really doing anything meaningful with it. So I love that you're actually taking that and taking it seriously and actually acting on it, which is great. And the other thing I hear you saying that I think about a lot is, especially around cultures of teams and organizations, it's not always things that you can see or the tangible things. It's just something that you can feel. And as you were talking about it, it was just giving me a feeling of, okay, that sounds healthy. That sounds like there's not a lot of stress. It sounds like there's collaboration, communication. You can just feel it. It's not these things we can measure on a survey, but you just see it and feel it and you go, okay, things are good. Because like you said, people are talking. There's not all this unhealthy kind of tension or, silence even. People are just working together and they're just generally happier. So I think that's some really important things that you do. And, for my last question, I wanted to wrap up, but I wanted to tie this back to when you said you played soccer in college. What is the one thing you say you learned from your experience on a soccer team that has helped you become a better leader?
So, and soccer is like the perfect example of a team
Mm-hmm.
because there's 11 players on a team,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was really good in high school, right? So, so I was one of the top guys, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how good you are,
Mm.
you are only, what's that saying? You are only as strong as the weakest link.
Link. Yeah.
And that is how it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, if it's a team game. Otherwise, go play tennis or run the 100-meter track. Then it's
Mm-hmm.
just you. But this is a team sport. So I can do everything perfect for myself. But guess what? If my team loses 5-0, no
Yeah.
scouts are looking at me. No one
Mm-hmm.
cares because they're like, they just lost 5-0. That means that team is doing something right. I'm looking at those players on that team, not
Mm-hmm.
that one really good player on this team, because you still lost 5-0.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that and my daily reminder to myself is energy. And energy is contagious. And I feel like the energy that I bring to the team, it needs to be reproduced throughout the whole entire team.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you just bring, going back to the first thing you said, openness and just trust,
Mm-hmm.
you bring your true self in there, and they'll just take it, and then everyone else will do the same thing. I think it makes, when one person opens up, then I feel like that effect, next person does the same thing, then the next person, and then everyone's like, okay, this is it's a safe place. I
Mm-hmm.
can be myself. I can share my views and all that without having to worry about being shunned or
Mm-hmm.
judged or anything like that. And I think that is very, it's very contagious. The energy that you come in, whether positive or negative, it
Yeah.
is contagious. So
Mm-hmm.
do your best to bring all the positivity, whether it's love and, rainbows and crystal balls and all that kind of stuff, whatever works for you. For
Yeah.
me, it's a smile and a great conversation, and travel,
Yeah.
travel, travel, and food is my I feel like food is where all the love and magic happens for me. Like, you have a feast with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You get to learn so many different things. And I know whenever we travel, we always, sit down with the locals at like one of the
Mm-hmm.
local restaurants, and then you just learn about people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
love listening because I love learning. I love learning new cultures, different
Yeah.
people. It just helps, and I feel like it does help me with my job because I'm constantly trying to understand how other people think, how other people
Yeah.
see things,
Yeah.
versus forcing my view on you. The
Yeah.
only thing I force on people is love. That's it.
You're gonna feel the love, darn it. I'm gonna force you until you feel the love. No, that's funny. Um, no, I love that because what I hear in all of that is curiosity, that you have a very curious mindset. You're curious about people, you're curious about cultures, you're curious about the way people think, how they're feeling. Just all of that curiosity, I think, is a doorway into really great leadership for no matter whether you're managing a team or not. You can be curious and use that to help fuel you to connect more with people and create better atmospheres and cultures and relationships. I think that curiosity is absolutely key. So I love that you said that, and I can't wait for the one day when finally all this COVID nonsense is behind us, and we can you can take me out somewhere in North Carolina and show me what food y'all eat. Because I was last time I went, someone took me to a steakhouse, and that was about as far as I got. But I was like, you guys got to have like barbecue or something, right? Or some good
Oh
food in
yes,
Carolina.
we've got Western Carolina, Eastern Carolina. We've got
Yeah.
all the barbecue. So,
I can't wait. Well, I appreciate you, Mo. And is there anything you want to leave with the listeners as far as any tips or recommendations on things people could do if they're a new manager?
yes. Well, recommendations, period, for anyone. Therapy. Take care of your
Mm,
mentals. Therapy,
mm,
therapy, therapy.
love
Learn
it.
about yourself, know about yourself. Self care is so important, especially right now
Yeah. Yeah.
in this time of this environment world that we're living in right now.
Mhm.
Self care is very, very important.
Yeah.
And for the new managers, just trust yourself, remember what got you where you are, and
Mhm.
just be you. don't
Yeah.
don't try and fit into something that you're not. Don't try and
Mhm.
fit this profile of what you think a
Mhm.
manager should be. Just be yourself. There's a reason why you got there. you know
Mhm. Yeah. Such
so
great advice. I love it. And such a perfect way to end. I
yeah.
appreciate your time, Mo, and this was fun. And I always love conversations with you. So I'm glad we could do this. So I
No,
appreciate you and
this is
your
awesome, and congratulations on your growth over the past 3-4 years. I mean, this is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Likewise, seeing you over the past couple of years and where you are today, you
Mm-hmm.
know, coaching and everything. I mean, you've come
Mm-hmm.
a long way. You should be so,
Yeah.
so, so proud of yourself because
Oh,
everyone around you is very proud of you. So
oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
kudos.
That's feelings very mutual, and I'm glad our paths crossed and we we get to see one another. So I'm so delighted you could come on the show today and share your perspectives. And I know that the listeners are going to get a ton of value out of this. So I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.